mom friends, welcome back to my channel, Home and Arrows. My name is Shirley and I'm a homeschooling mom of 5 kids who I like to call my arrows. And today I'm going to be chatting with you all about read alouds. Today's video is actually a collaboration with 2 other homeschooling moms, and I will leave their links in the description below, so make sure you check out Diary of a Homeschool Mama and YMO Homeschool. I am so excited to jump into the topic of reading aloud today with you all because it's something that I'm actually pretty passionate about. I recently read a statistic that only 17% of parents take time in their day consistently to read aloud to their kids. And I was maybe I wasn't really shocked by that. Maybe because I'm in the homeschooling community and that seems to be like a big part of what homeschoolers tend to do or try to do or want to do with their kids in the day. I thought it was a little bit more normal and that number would be a little bit higher, probably because the people that I'm surrounded with and like the world that I'm in talks a lot about doing that. I think that maybe for moms who work and for moms who have kids in public school, it's probably much harder for them to find the time to sit and just do something like reading aloud. But reading aloud is something that I have done with my kids literally from the time they were babies. I think when you have those visions of motherhood, sometimes we tend to romanticize motherhood before we are mothers. So that was me. Back when I was dreaming about those motherhood days, I think part of that for me was picturing myself reading to my kids and all of us snuggled up together. So when I had my first daughter, River, one of my very first sweet memories with her was just snatching her up, bringing her on the couch with me, snuggling with her, and reading to her a Winnie the Pooh storybook. Like I can just, to this day, almost 12 years later, remember that special moment. So I knew from the beginning that reading aloud to my kids was something that I wanted to be a normal part of our family's day. Just a couple things to cover about reading aloud. The first thing I just want to throw out there really quick are some benefits to reading aloud, like why take the time to do that in your day. So I put some notes on my phone that I'm gonna just reference while I chat with you. One of the great benefits of reading aloud to your kids is that it helps them with grammar structure. It helps your kids pick up correct word pronunciation, word usage, and proper grammar. So the thing is that when you hear the English language being spoken correctly, repeatedly, you will be able to identify when it is being spoken incorrectly. When you're reading good novels and good literature, they're hearing the proper use of words and vocabulary and sentence structure and grammar. So they will be much more quick to identify when the English language is not being used properly. Another thing that this is something that I've noticed in my kids is it helps your kids learn to sit still and to be attentive. And I really think that it helps kids' attention spans when they are read to regularly. I have a friend who is in our CC homeschool group, and I heard her make a comment one day because she was reading a book to the kids in our homeschool group and they were attentive and they were listening. Now the interesting thing is that this same woman also volunteers, I think like in maybe some kind of after school program for non-homeschool kids, and she commented that there was a vast difference in the way the kids that were homeschooled who were used to being read aloud to consistently listened and paid attention versus the kids who probably were not being read to as often at home. So I thought that was interesting, and I really do think that reading aloud to your kids helps them to lengthen their attention span. Another benefit to reading aloud to your kids is I have heard from people who were read to by their parents when they were younger refer to it as a very treasured and cherished memory for them. And I think it is a sweet time of bonding where you are enjoying stories, where you are enjoying adventures, where you're going to different cultures and time periods in history together, and you are learning, reading, and hearing about all of these things together with your kids. I can't tell you how many times one of my kids will be out and about and they'll make a comment about a part of a story and all of us can laugh together about it because we all read it together and know what they're talking about. One specifically is recently my daughter Daly was talking about how Ma Ingalls slapped the bottom of a bear and she thought it was her cow until she held her lantern up and realized that it wasn't her cow, it was actually a bear. So we kind of laughed about that. And it was just something that we shared together, the kids and I, a story that we all know, that we have enjoyed because it's something that we've read together. All right, so those are just a few benefits that I personally find to reading aloud. Now, the other question you might have is, when on earth do you read aloud to your kids? I have found for me and my family that reading aloud at lunchtime is the best thing. My kids have something to keep their hands busy. They have something to keep their mouths busy, so there isn't quite as much chatter. So at lunchtime, we usually get a good 20 minutes in, and I know that's not a ton. I have friends who read way more and way longer to their kids, but for our family, that's what works. About 20 minutes every day, and we actually get through a lot of books just by dedicating 20 minutes at lunchtime a day to reading aloud. Another time that we do it, and it's not nearly as often, sometimes in the evenings we'll just take the kids in the den. I'll give them something like Wiki Sticks or Play-Doh, or they can bring markers or crayons or colored pencils and paper, and they can all just kind of sit quietly on the floor, and I'll just sit there and read them a book. And I think that is a really special time. So I want to share with you some resources in case reading aloud to your kids is something that you would like to start or do more of. The first is Sarah Mackenzie over at Read Aloud Revival. They even have a podcast just dedicated to reading aloud. It's absolutely fantastic. They are constantly sending out great resources and titles of different books that are great for you to read to your kids. So I would encourage you, if you're interested more in knowing more about reading aloud to your kids, go check out Sarah Mackenzie over at Read Aloud Revival. And also the curriculum company that we use for some of our homeschool curriculum, The Good and the Beautiful, they have amazing lists of books from their library, which they call the Good and the Beautiful Library. And guys, this is so awesome. They have literally had people read through books upon books upon books, looking through these books for bad attitudes, for things that might be inappropriate, and they've pretty much screened a ton of books already, and we've already purchased some books from the Good and the Beautiful Library. Race for the Prairie, 20 and 10. This looks like it's about the German occupation of France and hiding Jewish refugee children, His Indian Brother, and Zeke and the Fisher Cat. I mean, guys, these are just like a small handful of titles from a long list of titles that they already have for us. So if you're looking for some good books to read aloud to your kids, or that you can just send your kids to read without you having to worry about the content, please make sure you check out the Good and the Beautiful Library. And what is our family reading right now? What are some of our favorite books? Well, right now, our family for the second time is going through the Little House series. We have all 9 books. I think we skipped Farmer Boy, but we've read all 8 before. And right now we are back on book number 3. We already did Little House in the Big Woods, and now we've gone to Little House on the Prairie. And we just love the Little House series so much. So mamas, if you've never really thought about reading aloud to your kids or what that could look like, I hope that today's video has encouraged you to read aloud to your children. Spend some time every day snuggled up, cozied up with them. It truly will be a treasured memory for both you and your kids. All right, so thanks for watching, and make sure you check the description down below to get the channel link to the other channels that are participating in this collaboration about read alouds. Thanks for sticking around, moms. I hope you'll like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.